Well, welcome to Edgy Park. It's the latest in our series of conversations with Simon Wilson, County's Director of Football. I want to start by going back to last time we met, Simon. We finished by saying we were 18th in League Two, and you said at the time we can still go up as champions. I mean, I never doubted you, obviously, but it's looking a lot more realistic now. How pleased are you with the progress since we last had this conversation?
Yeah, really pleased for everyone involved. When you're going through those periods, it can be really tough because inside the building you feel quite good. Are you doing everything right? You're just not getting that validation and that recognition from the results on a Saturday. But it's really pleasing to see that eventually came, and the run that we went on was incredible. I don't think many of us have been through something like that before, but bizarre and brilliant experience to go through such an unbeaten run. And those points are really important for us at this moment in time now, where we are, as you say, currently top of the league, with a fair bit of the season to go, but in a great position, in the best position we could be in at this time. So yeah, we're of course delighted. I
mean, top of the league for thick end of 4 months now. I think we've lost once away from home in 5 months. Is there something you can put your finger on? Is there one thing that you say that's what changed? That's why we've gone on this amazing run?
No, I think we probably compare ourselves rather from that period of time when we weren't getting as many points as we went on to, was how we built the team this year. We built the team to have more difference makers in it, more goals in it, because I think last year we were in so many situations where we were probably the better team in the game, had a lot of control, but didn't score enough goals. Maybe got the first goal, but with the game at 1-0 is always at risk. And how many times last year did we get to a situation where there was a late equaliser or which took the game away from us, and even in the playoff final. So we wanted to be able to get ourselves into a situation where we became more comfortable in games, and and with some of the scorelines that we've had this year, obviously the 5 against Wrexham and Doncaster, the 8 against Sutton. So we've had games where we've been extremely comfortable in games which almost guarantees the result, and that's the real development of the side. And it's great to see, even when we lost with Nick, potentially, who is one of the ones you'd put in that category. Nick Powell hasn't been available. There's been others that stepped up. When Louis came out the side through his injury, we found another way. So I think I've been really pleased with that sort of flexibility from Dave, the coaching team and the players to find a way and continue to get results.
I think, for watching from the outside, I think you looked at the transfer window that's just gone, the January one, and you thought to yourself, this is probably the most relaxed I've ever felt. I'm sure it wasn't for you, but I've also heard people in your position say that's when you strengthen. When you're doing well, you're at the top of the league, that's when you really strengthen, and almost a ruthless streak comes out in you, and you sign 5 players.
Yeah, the nature of the window is that, in practical terms, that's the only time you can register players. So every window you have to look at as an opportunity to get stronger if you can. January is notoriously hard for a few reasons, because there's games going on. It can be a very reactive market, so you can be in a very good position with a potential target, think it's going to happen, and then the team that they're at loses a game, and the manager changes, or they go on a winning spree, and that player's in the team and now no longer available. This type of thing. So. And we faced a few of those situations. We were really proactive.
So you did miss some, did you?
We missed quite a lot, actually, yeah. John. Yeah, we missed quite a lot in terms of. In the end, we're in a position where we're looking for players. If we've got a very good team, so in order to improve our team, we need players that are above the level. The next level is obviously the next league. And in the end, a lot of players will protect themselves by staying in the highest league possible they can do, or sometimes on better contracts than we can offer, for as long as possible. And so, yeah, we lost out on a few. But what you said about being relaxed, I think we've got ourselves into a situation where we're such a good group, such a good squad. There aren't that many players we think that can actually improve us. If we can't get one who's genuinely going to improve us, we're really happy with what we've got. And sometimes we react a little bit like the summer as well, where we had to react a little bit to injury within our own team and make sure we were more robust and had coverage for different positions, which is probably where we went with the window this year.
You also brought back Connor Lemonhay Evans, who's been, outstanding since he's come back. Was that a surprise to you, or had you kept tabs on him? Was that always the long-term plan?
I think I'd be a bit generous on ourselves to say it was always the long-term plan. Look, we really like Connor. Well, I suppose, if you look at the summer market last year, we had Connor, Joe, Kyle, Fraser. He's probably aged quite well that window, and Dave's been quite public about it. Is we know Connor's level is higher than what he's showed maybe the county fans to date. You might have seen it in glimpses here and there, and he had an impact last year, and obviously scoring some important goals as we went to Wembley. But I think we know he's got a higher level. When he went out to Wimbledon this year, it was a lack of game time with us, which was similar to what he was last year. And he's a real rhythm player, so the more he plays, the more impact you see. I think him coming back and knowing he was going to play, his performance in his first game was excellent. I think Dave's, notoriously doesn't change teams that win and perform too much. So the control became with Connor. Him playing well in a team that was winning, it was unlikely Dave was going to want to change it. And at that point, you sort of play into it, all the kind of strengths, playing regularly, getting the rhythm, playing in a team that suits him, playing with other players that complement him. And I think, thankfully, we're starting to see, what Connor really is. I'm really pleased for him, really pleased for the team, of course.
Joe Lewis didn't come back, however. What was the thinking there? Because you'd given him a new contract, hadn't you, last summer?
Yeah, look, Joe was one for us. We just go on the back to the reason we signed Joe. Joe was 22 years old and played over 100 men's games, and we have a bit of a marker of by 21 can players play over 100 games. Joe had not only done that at a young age. As a centre half, it normally comes a little bit later. And the other thing is Joe is extremely athletic, and you don't get so many athletic and quick centre halves at that age that have played that many games. So we're really excited about Joe at the point we signed him. He found the transition to Manchester hard, moving from where he was, but on a personal level. His first 6 months in the team were in and out. He came back and made big contributions toward the back end of the season, and we were looking forward to things going again this year. But we decided, in everyone's interest, that we wanted to get back to that rhythm of playing games. We wanted to send him out on loan this year. But in that case, we would say the plan was always to bring him back in January for him to come back into us. At that point, again, for personal reasons, which I won't go into here, Joe was really keen to stay where he was. At that point, it probably caused us a bit of a difficulty in the sense that, because he played for them, we had to make a decision of where he wasn't going to come back and play for us, that we had to go and try and find a way to do a deal. He'd done so well at Wimbledon. I think in the end they went past their maximum record sale. They had to get a donation from a key fan in order to we really squeezed them on the deal as far as we could push it. Tried to support Joe with what he wanted to do, and we got a really good return on a player that played 14 times for the club, and we were able to turn a profit, and there's still more to come if Joe kicks on to the level that we all think he can do. So it was a bit of a bittersweet moment in the sense that, we think long-term Joe's going to be a really good player, and we hope that was going to be with us. You have to be pragmatic in these situations. It's people. It's not just widgets that you're trading around. You've got to look at all the factors. Joe was really keen to stay with Wimbledon. Wimbledon were really keen to take him. They paid a really fair and reasonable price for his services, and so we'll move on.
I mean, potentially wouldn't have got in at Edgewood Park because of the emergence of Ethan Pye. I remember speaking to, well, not just you, but also the players, in the squad, who were telling me they were raving about this kid who was coming through, a lad who'd come from Rochdale initially. But how good has he been? How pleased are you with the progress he's made? Obviously, the injuries hampered him now, but it's been a remarkable breakthrough season.
He's so steady. He just keeps ticking things off all the time. So we brought Ethan in as an 18-year-old. We thought other clubs had missed out a little bit. We thought we were surprised he was available. He needed 6 months in with us, but we sent him out on loan to Spennymoor. We thought, again, that was a bit of a challenge for him, but he ticked it off. We sent him on loan on a year's loan to Gateshead full-time in a team that played really good football. He ticked that one off. He came back to us. Player of the year. He came back to us. We knew we needed to throw him in there. There's a couple of games where he was a bit shaky and he made a couple of mistakes. In moments, the rest of the game was fine. But he's ticked that off now. And then I think the coming of age game was the Wrexham game, perhaps, when he went up against sort of that forward line and in that profile of game, and was just so calm and so effective in his play. And he became a real key player for us. Has become a real key player for us. We're really disappointed to lose him after the Mansfield game. But he's doing really well now. And again, the next thing, his first sort of more significant injury with us. He's ticked it off. He's done his rehab. He'll be back ahead of schedule. And we're really looking forward to seeing him again.
Player care has been something that you've probably had more experience of this year than you wanted. I'm just thinking those long-term injuries, like Ethan now, but also Ryan Rydell, Macca's just picked up another one, of course. Jack Stretton. How difficult is it to manage that? Because players respond in different ways, don't they? And it can be a real test squad.
Yeah, look, I think we all feel. If you think about how Mark looks at his other businesses, sort of the way he looks after people, he's very people-centric. And the fact that we've got footballers, rather than, they're still employees of the club, they're still people that we have a duty of care for. And the life of a footballer is sometimes, very difficult, very stressful, takes over your life in terms of whether you're able-bodied or not able-bodied to be able to do different things and stuff like that. So, psychologically it's very difficult because these guys are athletes that are built to compete. And when you take that away from them, it can be very difficult for them. So we're very mindful that there needs to be an arm of the club that can support players in that aspect. We won't be able to do everything for them, and we're there to try and support them. But yeah, I'm again really really pleased with the work that James Jennings does in that space. Not just in injured players, but in healthy players as well. And I think it's really valued by the players that are going through those situations. And it's not just JJ. Obviously, it's Luke and Tom and any of the guys and Mike the chef and the whole team, if you like, that keep these guys going. Because they're still important. The fact that they can't contribute on the field for us in that particular time, still important to be good energizers around the place and get back as quickly as they can for their own careers and for us. So it's a real team effort, but there are some hard moments for those players, and we've got an eye on when those times get really tough to make sure that we've got a way of bringing them back up again.
You talked there about the club as a whole, and I'm thinking about things like the emerging talent programme now. And I guess as players are returning from injury, there's fewer opportunities now for those players in that emerging talent area. So, what's the state of play with that at the moment?
Yeah, so the emerging talent, I think we might have spoke about this in the last interview, but it was very current at that time. We knew that the next chapter for the club is going to be about bringing our own players through. The academy's not necessarily been going on long enough yet for some of those older age groups to be established. And so we knew that we might have to look strategically at the under 19s, under 20s, if you like, age bracket, of maybe recruiting some players in and starting to develop a bit of a programme. Now, if you remember the back end of last year, we started to have some B-team games on at Edgeley Park, really well responded to by the fans, and some good games that some of the players did quite well. We ended up taking one of the players on that. We ended up having some recommendations and trials at the early start of last season, which again produced some really exciting players, which we ended up signing. So all of those players were on a standard sort of contract agreement with a 1-year contract with an option in the club's favour at the end of it. As we went along, we sort of were assessing the players all the time, and we just felt genuinely at that time that the majority of the players weren't progressing quick enough to be serious. And the way that our first team are going at the moment, they weren't going to be seriously in contention for a first team spot in the following season. So we took early decisions on the majority of the players.
Which is fair, actually, isn't it? It's fairer for them.
Yeah. And even some of them have moved on of their own accord. Yeah. We've had Keighren that's gone to Burnley, the Premier League club, under 21s. We've had Sam that's gone to the Scottish Championship. So there's players that have moved of their own accord, not just always of being terminated or released by our club. But it's hopefully we were able to give them an opportunity. It wasn't to be with us, but hopefully that allows them to kick on. And now we sort of reinvest our time and energy in the players that we do have coming through. One of those players, Jadici, is still in and around our first team and out on loan at Chester in the National League North, competing for promotion. He's doing really well. So it's not like the programme's stopped. It's just the players that were in the programme majority have left now, and we start to focus on the next ones coming through.
And the next ones coming through are obviously the academy and Damien, the great work that he's been doing there, and that is starting to bear fruit now, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is across all age groups, and we we particularly see the results in our younger age group teams. The more and more that we're going out and playing games, we're trying to find new ways of challenging the players. So I know Damien's playing a lot of the players a year up or mixing age groups, and he's got some really exciting programs which are really fun to be involved in and see. He's got a program called the Young Hatters, where he mixes age groups from under 12s all the way up to under 16s, and takes a select group of them to do sort of quite unique experiences. So they've been up at Carrington training around the first team, and they've done sort of historic events, going to the Hat Museum and so forth together. So more cultural stuff, but really get into that sort of so they feel like a county player through and through. So some of those programs are just really cool to see how they impact young people. But the older age groups, we've seen a good amount of success with them. Obviously, they're a really exciting draw up at Goodison Park in the FA Youth Cup.
It was a great night, actually, that, wasn't it? It was fantastic again.
Yeah, and performed really well, didn't they?
Against the first half.
A Category 1 side that clearly invests in their young players. And, we lost the game, but we didn't lose by, the margin of the scoreline didn't necessarily reflect the margin of the game. So I think the guys can take a lot of credit. It'd be a huge learning experience, particularly for the first years. They get a chance to go and play in that competition again next year. We never want to put too much pressure on these young players. They'll develop in their own timeline, but we've got to make sure that we've got a pathway there so that, for the ones that we feel are capable, they can come and train with Dave and with the first team and our players, who are always great with the young players, and hopefully get opportunities to come and play for the team.
And just finally, Simon, looking at the first team again, obviously the transfer window's closed, you've got your squad in place. Maintaining that lead is going to be a challenge, but the players look up for it, don't they?
I think they're excited by the position that they're in. There's another few teams that want to be, exactly where we are, and no one's going to expect it to be easy between now and the end of the season. But I can assure everybody listening to this is that the players are extremely focused and doing everything they can do to go and get promoted firstly, and even better, be the champions of the league. So I've got full confidence in them and the coaching staff and everybody around it. And let's just hope it's an exciting end to the season like it has been in recent years.
Can't wait for it, and let's hope next time we're talking with champions. Well done. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers. Thank you.